Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Ladder Legends replay analysis. Today we got DJ Schmeeg, aka Steven or Imperator, versus Camrot. Let's see what he said. What did he say? While we're getting this game started, it's also my birthday today. Let's see. Ask a coach. Passive TVP. Any advice or tips I could have done better here? I try to be as passive as possible and use the defense and macro to win. Okay, so we're just trying to out macro a protoss player. One thing we need to understand when it comes to macro in this matchup is that between the 5 and 8 minute mark, we are most likely going to be economically behind. So if you're going to play macro against protoss without being overly aggressive, you're going to have to understand that you're going to need to trade better than them during the mid game, right? So let's see. Got our factory coming down, second gas as well. Base is about to finish. Properly timed bunker. Things are looking pretty good so far. I don't think we built a unit, or a Reaper, did we? No. Okay, we went reactor first, which is fine. We also SCV scouted. So, and you might be like, Groovy, why am I going to be behind in the mid game? It's because of a little thing we call chrono boost here. Chrono boost just allows TOS to just churn out workers, you know? Like, they can get so many workers out, they can actually keep up with the Zerg player if they're using all their chrono boosts on probes. Which, if you're playing an economically focused game as the Protoss player, sometimes that's what you do. A lot of times that's what I do. That's how I get my edge on players that I deem to be better than myself. It's like you eke out more economy and you get away with it for just a little too long, and suddenly, boom, the game's pretty easy, right? So, let's see. So we're going for a 1-1-1 follow-up. We're missing a couple SCV cycles here. And I say a couple, like, we're just missing a couple seconds per one. You see, like, this is 4, 5, that was 4 seconds on that one. We had 2 or 3 earlier, so we're just, it does add up over time, right? We want to try to keep the worker deficit around 8, if possible. Missing a little bit more. There's our add-on. We're going up to second and third barracks. Okay. Do we have any information on this third base? No, we do not. So, one thing when we go reactor first, we want to be sending out marine spotters. Marine spotters are what's going to allow you to know if there's a push coming, because we don't have any reliable way of scouting. Another thing you can do is maybe send a Viking out, maybe harass some probes, check for what's going on. We're going for +1 here in 3 barracks. So, if we are playing macro, our third base is pretty late at this point. You want the third base by like 5:30 at the latest. Even in Richie's 2-2 ghost push, like ghost max out that he was doing, the third base went down at around 5:25 most games. So we're about 30 seconds late on that, and I feel like that's partially to do with where we're just being overly safe, right? We got double engineering bay before that. We are getting all of our upgrades. We're going for missile turrets to be safe. We're just playing overly defensive, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but one thing we don't want to do is cut the third, right? Like, you could stop at 16 out of 16 on this and get the third slightly faster. I do like that we're still making workers, but we need the additional mineral patches. That way we're actually able to make use of those workers, right? Because it's like we're only down by like 12 workers, but we're being pretty outmined. 300 in gas and about 400 to 500 in minerals. Now, mules definitely help with that, but all right, we're going for 4th and 5th racks. Third base coming down right now. 4th base going down for the Protoss player. This is a pretty passive game from both sides. You see, he's going for the spotters. We should be doing something similar as well with our Marines. He's also going for a Category 5 hurricane level of storms over here. So we want to be throwing down a Ghost Academy right about now, right about the time we're getting our Armory and our 2-2, or we want to be throwing down a Fusion Core and a second Starport for Liberators. This is how we're going to be able to deal with the splash damage by teching up, right? Our 2-2 is very well timed, but what we don't want to do is be sitting here on max out Marine Marauder against max out, like, splash damage, right? We just need some sort of transition. Our supply is looking pretty good here. We should be going for a 10-minute max out or so, if possible. There we go. Ghost Academy on the way. Double Command Center on the way as well. We're getting 1 on location and 1 in base. That's fine. I think we should do 4th base, and then you should do either 5th and I think we do 6th and 7th racks, and then our other production structure, whether that be second factory or second starport. In this case, I recommend second starport, even though we're going for ghosts, which are quite expensive. We don't need that many against Protoss. We only really need like 2 or 3 maxed energy ghosts can drop anywhere between 4 to 6 EMPs, which tends to be enough to blanket the whole army. Nice, we're sending out our Marine spotters now. Protoss player's going for a 5th base. He's getting +2/+1 and blink. I don't know if the blink's completely necessary once we haven't, like, we have 4 or 5 stalkers, but it's okay. So we don't know that this army's moving out, even though we have the spotters. We spotted the army, but we don't know when it's leaving, and that's a problem with Terran because Terran is a siege race, right? Like we're completely we need to be sieged. And remember, this is that window that like 6 to 9, 10 minute mark. I know I said 6 to 8 minutes is where they explode an economy, but what does that result in, right? We're behind by like 20 supply, even though we've also been macroing. But it's also partially because our 3rd base is late, right? Late in comparison to a normal macro game. So that's fine. Our 2-2 is about to finish. We got ghosts on the way, but we need to know where the army is. That way we can be set up. Because like if an army's coming down here, we would love to have tanks on these parts of the high ground, right? Probably over here, and then you want to kite them back to the tanks. But having our army or our siege units in proper positions is very important for dealing with these kinds of players. So everything is sieged at least. Yeah, he's checking for this base. This base is kind of forfeit, unfortunately. This is an army that gets absolutely crushed by Liberators, by the way. This is why I keep suggesting we get Lib range and a 2nd Starport. 8 minutes and 30 seconds should be when we're... that was the rule of thumb between like 2017 and 2019. I'm sure our Lord and Savior Gamer Richie can attest to that meta. But back then, and Libs were better back then, but they're still some of the highest damage output, if not the highest damage output units in the game. Getting 2nd Starport plus Lib range, we'd probably have anywhere between 4 to 6 Libs here. And what units does he have in his army besides 4 Stalkers and a couple Archons that can actually kill Liberators, right? Just like you can actually just lock down. You can lock down that position if we have some of those units here. The problem is like we're on a lot of tier 1 units. These are a lot of tech units, right? So that tends to be the issue. And the thing is, Terran damage output is insane, but we also have a grand total of 12 psionic storms available for this army. This isn't a small amount of storms. Another thing as well, we have the ghost done, correct? Okay, they just finished. So we don't want to fight this without the ghosts, and we want the ghost to lead. We try to lead with the EMP, okay? Decent spread. We got to back up, but we got these ghosts just chilling back here. So we want to lead with the EMP before we fight. We get some good EMPs now, but it's like it's after our army has already taken a lot of storms. And despite all of that, you're trading very well. And what I mean by that is you were down by 20 supply, if you remember. And suddenly the supply differential is only 6. So if we lead with the EMPs and then we have our spread set up like that, spread it like it's some butter, I feel like we crush this army. Although, because we're 2 upgrades ahead of him, we're doing pretty well. Immortals tend to chew through Marauders, though, right? So, good EMPs. He recalls, and that went okay. Like you guys traded actually pretty evenly. If we're to lead with the EMPs, and he doesn't have his storms available, or at least less storms, the fight will go so much better for you. You had a 2 upgraded advantage in that fight. We're getting our 3-3. We are late on the 3-3. We're late by like a minute on the 3-3, actually. 9:54 was when that fight was coming in. I know we were focused on the fight, but this 3-3 would be almost finished right now, whereas now we're, especially because of Chrono Boost, we're going to get at the point where we're only 1 upgrade ahead of him, where we would have had probably a 20 or 30 second window where we had a 3 upgrade lead on him, which we could probably just crush, right? So we're still lacking our other kind of tech unit. We're going for just mass bio, which that's exactly what he's preparing for, right? That's what these guys are for. These guys are the anti-mass bio gentlemen. That's what they do. They have ascended to be able to beat the tier 1 guys with guns. He's using the storms as Blizzard intended as a zoning tool. So in this point, you probably want to use the SCVs as meat shields. I know that's hard to say because we're kind of lacking on economy now, but we just need to clear the army exceptionally well once. We get 1 very good clear, then we still have a potential chance to make the comeback, right? So I think your macro was actually just fine. We just didn't take that final engagement well enough, and we also didn't have our transition ready to go. You were on what was 5 bases, and we didn't have libs or extra tanks, no widow mines, nothing that is a tech unit that's going to help out against his very rudimentary, basic Immortal Zealot Archon army, right? Like he was building an A-move army. We need to build your goal is to build an army that does not want to be A moved into, right? That's how you counter the A move armies. Is you're basically trying to build a fortress with the Terran, which spread some more freedom zones with the Liberators, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Liberators are the answer to all your problems here. You already had the second part of the problem solver, which is the Ghost. So we added a couple of those tips into our play, and I think you'll be beating players like Mr. Camrot rather easily in fights like that. Just remember to lead with the EMPs. Try not to engage without the Ghost. And another thing that's also important that I forgot to mention is that we're taking this base. We can give up this base. We have another expansion ready to go. There was no reason to like die fighting on that hill. We could have had a better spread. Like some here, some here, some here. Now we're coming in from like a super wide arc instead of this, which is, it's not a tiny choke, but it is still a choke comparatively, right? So just things to keep in mind and things to consider. Hopefully this helps, Mr. Imperator. If you have any questions, feel free to PM me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.